SDN, right? And I told you what is SDN. I gave you one definition also for the SDN, that a router has what?
Management plane,
Control plane, data plane, and link plane.
Data plane, right? It has 3 planes, and all those 3 planes what?
Management, control plane.
Perfect. And data plane?
Data
and they are tightly coupled with hardware.
Yes, that's what I wanted to hear when I was saying that these 3 planes are tightly coupled, right? So this is what we talked. When we say tightly coupled, it means they are tightly coupled with the hardware itself. It means they are hardware dependent. They are hardware dependent. So as soon as we change the hardware, we'll have what? There might be possibility a different set of configuration, a different set of what support, right? So what is the SDN? SDN says that we should do what? We should separate these planes with the help of a technique called softwareization.
Virtualization.
Softwareization, right? So
Yes.
what is that technique?
Softwareization, and we will use software manager hypervisor.
Yes, softwareization. Right? To separate all this
Functionality.
perfect. All the planes functionality. Right? Once this functionality are separated, you will be able to see what? You'll be able to see management plane as a software. Right? As a software. And we call it what? We call it, it is virtual network function. It's a virtual network function. Similar way, control plane. It's a separate software now. No longer available within what? Within the router, right? It's a separate software and it is also a virtual network function. Similar way, data plane. It's a software and it's a separate virtual network function. All 3 are what? Separated with a technique called softwareization, and that is known as an what? SDN. And now, what is the result out of it? Now they are no longer dependent on a hardware. Now they are no longer dependent on a hardware. So when they are not dependent on a hardware, it means what? We can install these softwares on any virtual machine, any container, any what? Any, even though a white box, which doesn't have any vendor functionality. Right? So what the SDN does? SDN is decoupling these planes with the help of softwareization so that their dependency on the hardware should be removed. And once that is done, then we have the option what we can do. Whatever we need it. If we need what? If we need a management plane, we can use that. If we need a control plane, we can use that. If we need a data plane, we can use that. Right? So that's the way we say when we are installing these functionalities. Once we have these functionalities, after that, what we do? We install these functionalities there in the
On virtual machine or a Docker or container.
yes, by using a technology,
Hypervisor.
virtualization, And virtualization is using the use of a software called hypervisor, right? And with the help of this virtualization and hypervisor, what is being created? A virtual machine or a container is created. And then we are installing these virtual network function. Let me write in a separate line. So once we install these virtual functions to the VMs, they become what? They become NFV solution. They become what? NFV solution. And that's what the vendors, they provide NFV solutions to us. Right? So there are some examples. You will be able to see those examples on the Google. They are calling it as an what? Universal CP.
Okay.
You might have heard the name of Universal CP, right? So Universal CP is available from a vendor called Cisco, from a vendor called Dell, right? And many more other vendors also started providing Universal CP based on what? Based on the requirement of the customer, and these devices sometimes they kept at the customer branch. So customer can do what? Customer can even though install a management plane onto it, customer can even though install a control plane, customer can even though install a data plane, or customer can install even though any of the firewall, even though any of the wireless controller, right? So depend what kind of universal CPE it is. Either it provides what? The functionality of 2 virtual machine, 4 virtual machine, or 8 virtual machine. It depends on the model number to model number. So these kind of new NFV solution equipments are created. Those they are started calling them that they are kind of what? White box. Any vendor specific component is not necessary that we need to install only that vendor component, right? So that's the way SDN solutions are there. Now, out of it, what is the use of SD-WAN? The use of SD-WAN in case if some customers would like to use a data plane virtual network function that can be installed onto it, right? As well as the separation of these 3 planes, they can host management plane and control plane over the cloud. Over the cloud also, the virtualization technique is being used, right? So that's what we say. This is what very, very important things which we need to know. One, second part is the virtual network function. It is separated, right? The third part is the virtualization technique. And the fourth part is what here? The universal CP. So these kind of boxes are available from what? From the vendor sides. No longer a router. These devices are available where data planes can be hosted, or even though customer firewalls can be hosted. We generally used to say not host the word. We generally used to say they are spent in the virtualization techniques. Right? Now, once we know these everything, so what we'll be doing, we'll be jumping now to the SD-WAN architecture. So I'll just let you know what is the architecture of the SD-WAN. Within the SD-WAN solution, full-fledged SD-WAN solution. If I say the vendor who is giving the partial solution, they might not support all the components, but SD-WAN is supporting all the component. The first component is what? They have management plane. And what is the what is the, you can say that the
vManage.
device, that is
vManage.
what is the
vManage.
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 Perfect. And this vManage is not a hardware. It is always a software. So when it is a software, we can say it's a VNF. If it is a VNF, it can be spent on any device, right? So as per the solution, it has to be centralized. It has to be centralized. So it will be hosted on what? It will be hosted over the cloud.
Cloud.
Right? So that's the first component. Similar way, we have the other component. What is the other component? That is what the control
plane. Yes.
right? Now,
vSmart.
vSmart is the name of the
Control plane.
component. That's the control plane, right?
Yes.
And it is also always a what? Always a software. So we call it what? It's a virtual network function. It also needs to be centralized, right? Hence, it is hosted over the cloud. Similar way, yesterday I told you that about the other plane, that is what? Data plane.
Data vEdge.
And here in this solution, they have started calling it what? vEdge, right?
Yes.
And it is available in both the forms. So the first format, if I tell you, that is what? Again, what? Again, a
Software.
software,
DNF centralized. It's not centralized.
right?
Yeah.
It need not to be
Hardware.
centralized. It has to be at customer premises, right? It needs to be at
Customer.
Hardware.
customer premises,
Means it's a managed CP, right?
right? It has to be a customer. It has to be on a customer premises, right? So if it has to be on a customer premises, generally what the customer does, customer is using the NFV solution box, which I told you, universal CPE, right? Second way, how it is available,
Hardware.
that is what? Hardware,
Yeah. CSR
right?
1000.
Right. Initially, it was what? vEdge with various model numbers.
Yeah.
vEdge 1000, then 2000, then 5000. So this is just an example that then the CSR 1000, right? Then
Yes.
ISR 4K, right? So
And
then
ISR 4500 also.
then it is not, yes, then it's not the vEdge. When it is started from Cisco, they have named it as an what?
CH.
CH. CH, right? So these are hardware boxes, right? And once they are hardware boxes, they also needs to be at customer premises, and they are located at customer premises, but they are only having, they're only having data plane, no control plane, no management plane. They're only having the software of the data plane. Okay. And now on the top of it, we are already aware the functionality of management plane, control plane, and data plane. Now, which software of management plane needs to be authorized in a domain? Which control plane software needs to be authorized in a domain? Which data plane devices, be it's a software device or hardware device, needs to be authorized in a domain for that particular functionality? A new component is being introduced, and that component is what?
vBond.
Orchestration plane. Orchestration plane.
Yeah.
And
that
that's
is
what
used
is a
authentic-
vBond.
vBond.
And
it
the
is all
main functionality of this is what?
authentication
Authentication and authorization. So it is also always a software, but there is no dedicated image available for it. It is using the image of what?
Data
vEdge.
plane, vEdge,
It is
vEdge.
using the image of
vEdge,
VNF.
VNF, needs to be centralized, hosted over the cloud, and no dedicated image. Using image of
vEdge,
vEdge VNF, right?
yes,
So when I say VNF, so you can understand now what is virtual network function, right? Now,
yes,
once it is using the image of this, the functionality, main functionality of it is what? The main functionality is authorization and authentication. Authentication and authorization. That's the functionality of this.
Ma'am, it is understood
Yes.
that hardware is being used as BH1000, CSR 1000 and CS, but please tell about how as a software it being used.
What is being used?
How BH is being software as you.
How it is being softwareizing. That's the technique that SDN is using. Okay. So that's what the OEM they does. You understand what is the terminology OEM, original equipment manufacturer, they does that technique. They are using the softwareization technique and they are separating the function in the form of software. Now, if I say that, okay, router operating system, right? So will you ask me how that operating system is created?
Ma'am, I was asking about BH at customer place. Hardware is being used. That is understood. But BH, how as a software it being used?
I
It is
told you that
installed.
it will be installed in an NFV solution box.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Okay,
That I already gave it to you. It will be inside the universal CPE, right?
got it, got it.
Got it? Okay. I thought that you are asking how the softwareization is being done.
No, ma'am,
Okay.
understood.
Okay, fine. That's okay. Now we
Hello.
get to know that where they are located. Now let's have a
Hello.
look at it.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, tell me.
Can you repeat what is UCP, universal CP?
Universal CPE.
Yeah.
It is a box provided by the vendor, which is a kind of white box.
Okay.
It's a hardware, but no dependency of the vendor. You can install any software on this universal CPE,
Okay. Thank you.
right? Like example, if we buy a router, let's take we have purchased a router, ISR router. So you must have the ISR image available to run that particular router, right?
Yeah.
But now universal CPE is a hardware. It is not recommending that which image you need to run. You can run any image onto it.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Now, when we talk about these components, we get to know there are some components, those they are hosted centralized, right? Now let's take an example that they are hosted over the cloud, but cloud is also not, you can say that available in one particular location, right? So let's take an example that this is an AWS cloud. Now this AWS cloud will have its data centers, right? Cloud-based data centers, right? So there might be possibility that this data center is of what? Located in Singapore,
At many regions.
right? And this is located in Mumbai, right? So there might be possibility my vBond is here, right? And vManage is here. But my vSmart is located over here, right? And the vEdges are located at what? Customer branches. So let's take one branch, second branch, and the third branch, right? I'll say site 1 or site A, site B, or site C. So vEdges are hosted over here. So I'll say vEdge, right? Or you can even though call it what as an WAN edge router. WAN edge is hosted over here and WAN edge is hosted over here. Independent of Webtail, Cisco, so we call it what it is WAN edge. WAN edge device, right? Maybe it's a hardware, maybe it's a software, it could be anything, right? So we have edge devices located at what customer sites. Now, how we'll have the connectivity of these devices?
The connectivity will be done via layer 2 technologies like MPLS or 4G, 5G LTE devices towards the data centers, and vBond will be used for authentication and authorization of these devices.
Now here the picture comes like that. The first they need physical connectivity. These different sites needs to have physical connections. So for physical connections, the recommendation is what? The recommendation says that we can use any type of transport. We can use any type of transport. Any type. So the terminology is now here, any type of transport. It could be what? MPLS. It could be what? Internet. It could be what? The way you guys are saying 3G, 4G, 5G, 6G, LTE, right? So I can say all this, any type of transport for the physical connections, right? Now I'll say that not sure what is being used to have the physical connectivity. It could be anything for the physical connection, and with the help of these physical connection, now these locations are connected. The data center is also connected. These sites are also connected. These sites are also connected. So what we call this type of connection? This is known as an what?
Software defined connection.
Software defined WAN, ma'am. SD-WAN.
No.
Hybrid.
Underlay connection.
Sorry, underlay.
Oh, underlay.
So
Underlay connection.
So, ma'am, we can say it
So,
is for reachability, right? Between the
right. It's only required for IP reachability. It's only required for IP reachability, right? So we generally used to say reachability. These are underlay connection, and we are using our traditional WAN. Remember, we talked about the traditional WAN yesterday. We are using our traditional WAN for this particular purpose, to provide underlay reachability to SD-WAN. Once this reachability is there, then now on the top of it, there will be a connection established, right? Now, the data plane has to communicate with management plane. Data plane has to communicate with what? Control plane. Data plane has to communicate with what? Orchestration plane as well. So one device needs to have multiple connections. So I'll take now you can say that the light color, the light blue color, and I'll create some of the tunnels for you. That let's take, this is what my site where I'm having what? this vManage device. So these vManage device will have multiple connections on the top of this physical connection. One connection will be what? For
IP reachability, and one connection will be for
one
connectivity.
connection is already established, that is for the IP reachability, that is underlay connection. Now by utilizing that underlay connection, it will have the connectivity for
with the controllers.
first controller, that is what?
vBond. vBond.
Because this device needs to be authenticated with this domain,
Mhm.
right? And
Yes.
it needs to have an authorization to join this particular domain,
Mhm.
right?
Yes,
Ma'am,
yes.
I have one question. So before connection with CH or VH, right? We want using which images? It will be running anywhere, right? On any
It'll
image.
be it'll be using vEdge VNF image, and it'll be hosted centrally on a cloud.
Okay, so it is service, right? Orchestration is a service, so it is running over some images, right?
Right. So
Yeah, yes.
that image is what? That image is the vEdge image.
So, ma'am, before connection of VMS, VH, it will be running somewhere, right?
It is running over the cloud. That's what I'm saying.
Cloud.
If
So means
we want to run this image in on-prem solution, is
No,
it possible?
yes, it is possible. You can run it on-prem solution also. For on-prem solution, you need to have what? On-prem data center.
नहीं मैम, जैसे VMware वर्चुअलाइजेशन या हाइपर वी.
हाँ, चला लो उस पे.
ओके, मतलब उस पे भी
बट
हम
आप
अपना विंडो
बट
एक
आप उस
हाँ,
आप उस पे क्या करोगे? कितनी साइट्स में रखोगे उस vBond को?
जैसे बहुत सी गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर्स ऐसे होते हैं जो क्लाउड पे नहीं जाते हैं,
हम्म
तो वहाँ पे ये सोल्यूशन अगर लगाना भी है, इंस्टॉल भी करना है, तो उसके लिए फिर वो क्लाउड पे तो जाएंगे नहीं, वो ये कहेंगे आप वर्चुअलाइजेशन करिए, ऑन
तो
प्रेम ही
ठीक
रखे.
है, आप ठीक है, डन. आपने उनका डेटा सेंटर लिया, वहां पे वर्चुअलाइजेशन करके आपने vBond होस्ट कर दिया, राइट?
ये हाँ,
अब
ये
उनकी जो डिफरेंट डिफरेंट साइट्स है, वो कहाँ से कनेक्ट करेंगी?
वो कहाँ से कनेक्ट करेंगे?
अब सिर्फ एक ही साइट के vManage को थोड़ी ऑथेंटिकेट करना है,
ओके.
सारी साइट्स को ऑथेंटिकेट करना है ना.
अच्छा मैम, मेरा एक क्वेश्चन और था, कल मैं पूछ नहीं पाया था. जैसे हम ये SD WAN यूज करते हैं वैन के लिए, तो
हम्म
हर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में फायरवॉल इंस्टॉल्ड होते हैं, तो फायरवॉल
हम्म
इसके पहले लगेगा कि बाद में लगेगा?
ये डिपेंड करता है कि आपको फायरवॉल किस तरीके से लगाना है. आपको किसी एक सेंट्रल लोकेशन पे लगाना है, या फिर हर साइट को एक फायरवॉल देना है. अगर हर साइट को एक फायरवॉल दोगे तो क्या हो जाएगा? इट विल बी एन एक्सपेंसिव सोल्यूशन. तो आप किसी एक सेंट्रल लोकेशन पे फायरवॉल को रखोगे, और फिर आप डेटा प्लेन की पॉलिसीज बनाओगे कि व्हेनेवर द डेटा विल बी फॉरवर्डेड, डेटा विल पास थ्रू फ्रॉम द फायरवॉल.
हाँ, मतलब ऑल द ट्रैफिक गोज टू अ फायरवॉल
राइट.
एंड देन आउट ऑफ द वैन.
यस, देन आउट ऑफ द वैन. सो
तो
दैट डिपेंड्स.
हाँ, तो इस सिचुएशन में हमें फायरवॉल पहले लगाना पड़ेगा और ये सोल्यूशन बाद में.
राइट.
ओके.
प्लानिंग पहले करनी पड़ेगी.
हाँ,
प्लानिंग पहले करनी पड़ेगी, राइट? एंड देन यू कैन डिप्लॉय इट इन एनी टर्म्स.
ओके.
ओके. सो वापस आते हैं यहाँ पर.
ठीक.
By using this underlay connection, there will be a tunnel created. There will be a tunnel created which will initiate from the WAN edge and it will terminate on the vBond. Right? And we call this tunnel is what? It's a overlay tunnel.
Overlay tunnel. Okay.
Right? It is what? It is an overlay tunnel, and it will be using the connectivity of DTLS.
Okay.
DTLS overlay tunnel. So I'll write it down, this word over here for your reference. It is a DTLS overlay tunnel. Right?
Yeah.
Now one tunnel for vBond Another tunnel for
vSmart. vManage, sorry.
vManage by using the same part.
Okay.
And third tunnel for
vSmart.
vSmart by using the same underlay. So there will be 3 tunnels. All they are DTLS overlay tunnel,
Okay.
right?
Ma'am, I have
And to hold on. And to establish all these connections, what will be there? There will be some set of what? Some set of protocols are required. Now the tunnel is created, right? So first tunnel is what? That is the physical
vBond.
tunnel, that is the underlay tunnel,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
that is using a lot of technology. If we are saying MPLS, yesterday we talked about a lot of protocols are there to establish the MPLS connectivity, right?
Yes.
Then on the top of it, what? On the top of it, there is an overlay tunnel created, and overlay tunnel is using what? Overlay tunnel is using DTLS, right? Now, tunnel is ready, but how the communication will happen? To have the communication, we would be needing what? We would be
Protocol.
needing
Buffer.
different things. What we will be needing? We will be needing different things. What are those different things? I'm mentioning it over here. Those different things are, if we have the connectivity between, I will write data plane as an DP. Right? Between data plane to orchestration plane, OP. Right? Or
Yes.
data plane to management plane. The connectivity via API. The communication via API.
Yes.
And what is that API? By default, which API is there?
REST API. NetConf, sorry.
That is the default API which is available within the solution, right? So this API will be providing the communication between these components inside the tunnel.
Okay.
Okay. And if the connectivity is between data plane and the control plane, then it is using a protocol that is what? OMP.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So that's very, you can say that important things which you must know that how this architecture is, right?
Okay.
So once you get to know this is just all in theory, which I told you. But when we'll have the full-fledged session, we will be studying it in practical terms, that how the physical connections are there, underlay tunnel is created, how then the overlay tunnel is created, how these APIs are enabled, right? How the OMP is enabled. So all these things, practically, we need to see it there in the practical part there in the full-fledged. So this is what we say, that this is the SDN architecture and SD-WAN architecture and SD-WAN components, right? So you guys, in case if looking for the notes, you can take a screen capture of this before I proceed further.
Ma'am, one question, ma'am. So for underlay, you say that it is from vEdge to the vBond. You mean to say the data center, and overlay is connection to each of the vBond, vManage, and vSmart. Is that so?
Right. So you can say that there is a physical pipe. Within that physical pipe, you will have 3 different tunnels.
Okay.
And each tunnel will have its own set of what? Methodology of the communication.
Okay. Yeah. Got
right?
it. Thank you.
Got it? That's the way it is. Right? So now you guys might have taken a screen capture. So I'll be proceeding further, where I need to tell you that in case if we need to onboard a vEdge, what are the things we need to do it? Right?
Okay.
So while onboarding a vEdge.
Arvinder ma'am, I have a doubt over here. I was
Yes.
referring to some notes related to SD-WAN, and they said that the SD-WAN is protocol independent. Okay. So from a
Yes.
legacy architecture, if we look at SD-WAN, even the legacy architectures were having protocol independency. Like they were using MPLS, IPsec tunnel over the MPLS. They were using broadband connection also. They were using lease line also. They were using,
Right.
yeah. So then how are these two terms different? Like even the legacy architecture.
IPsec itself is an overlay technology. GRE itself is an overlay technology, and similar way SD-WAN is an overlay technology. But IPsec doesn't give you that benefits which are being given by
SD-WAN.
SD-WAN, right?
Yeah,
How
yeah,
come that when we talk about the IPsec connectivity, let's take an example. We have created a site-to-site IPsec, right? So you will
okay,
have one router in one end, another router in another end, same physical tunnel will have same physical pipe will have one tunnel for IPsec,
yes,
and
yes,
every kind of communication will be inside that only, be it is what a management communication, control communication, or your data plane communication. Everything is
mm,
going inside there, right? Wherein
mm,
here everything is what separated first of all.
okay,
Okay.
okay,
So there are so many other benefits when you will learn slowly its feature. So this is what one simple example I gave it to you to have the differentiation between the legacy or between our traditional overlay technology and the SD-WAN overlay technology.
And ma'am,
okay,
big advantage is application aware routing.
Yes, that's the big advantage, of course, but I'll be able to cover if you guys will permit me.
okay, sure, sure.
Right? Okay. So
And
let
say, just one last question. And in the same way, it is transport independent also, like
right.
transport. But in the traditional network also, we were using multiple transports. We were using
Right.
MPLS.
IPsec is like that only. Ultimate, how we exactly reach to the SD-WAN
Yeah,
by utilizing all the traditional methods. That's what
oh,
yesterday I told you, that you must know traditional. You are not going to leave behind traditional things. They will
okay,
always be with you.
okay, okay, okay.
Okay. They'll be always with you. Now the next thing is what? I'm coming to onboard a vEdge. How we will be able to onboard a vEdge, right?
Sure.
Okay. So when we are onboarding a vEdge, the first thing is what we need, what? Physical connectivity, right?
Yes.
That is required. Then we would be looking for what?
Overlay connectivity for connecting to the three different planes.
Yes. So let me write it down. Physical / underlay. That will be good. You will be able to understand that. Once the physical connection is established, after that you need to have what? You need to have the overlay, right? Overlay connections,
Yes.
right? Now, for the physical connection, what you need? Traditional method. You need to configure IP reachability, right?
Yes.
IP reachability, right? Now, for this IP reachability, it depends what ISP you are using in. Based on that, there will be a technique, right? There might be possibility. There might be possibility. It is a direct point-to-point connection. right? The
Yes.
way we used to have between CE and PE, we have what?
Lease
/30
lines.
/30 network lease line, right? Or there
Yes,
might
yes.
be possibility it is what? It might be a point to multi-point network,
Like
right?
frame relay.
Right. But nowadays, even the frame relay is not used, Ethernet is being used,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Metro Ethernet technology is there, right? There
Okay.
might be possibility here, the way you guys have said, there might be possibility here already an IPsec connection is there, right? It could be anything. We just need to have a connection, be it is point to point, be it is point to multi-point, be it is IPsec, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's required for physical connection. Once the physical connection is up, after that we'll talk about the overlay connections, right? Now for the overlay connection, what we'll be doing, whatever the physical interface is there, right? Within that physical interface by which the physical connectivity is there, over that physical interface, we will be creating a tunnel interface. And within that tunnel interface, we need to allow some of the services. And the default services are what? The default services are DNS, DHCP, right? And netconf, which we need to allow,
Yes.
right? And then we need to allow what? We need to allow, or we need to, you can say that, enable encapsulation. And that's what IPsec, right? If we are using for underlay IPsec, still we need to enable another encapsulation IPsec. It will be a dual IPsec. Okay. And once we have enabled the IPsec, after that we need to define what? What is the transport type we are using? We need to even to say that what is the transport type we are using it. Right? So we need to mention that this is the transport type we are using in, like example, MPLS or internet, right? Or different type, right? So this is what the first type of overlay configuration, which we need to do it at physical interface. Within the physical interface, we need to create a tunnel interface. And within the tunnel interface, we are doing three things. We are allowing some services. We are enabling the encapsulation. We are defining that what type of physical transport it is. Right? And then the second thing we need to do some of the configuration which is related to the individual device. So we generally used to say that it is the system configuration.
Okay.
Right, which is related to this vEdge device, such as what? We are configuring the hostname.
IP address, hostname, IP address.
IP address will be there on the physical interface, right?
Okay.
Okay. So instead of IP address, here also we will configure an IP, but we call that IP as in what? We call that IP is the system IP. System IP. Now, what is that system IP? That system IP is actually a router ID, which is not routable, which will remain with the device itself, right? Which will be able to represent the device.
Like loopback IP, na? That is.
Yes, like loopback IP, the way we used to do it in our traditional network, right? So we have to configure hostname, we have to configure system IP, then we need to configure a site ID that this particular device belongs to which site, right? The site ID is a numeric number, and the consultant who is planning the network, that consultant will let you know that, okay, what is the site ID of this particular vManage device. So they'll give some numeric number, the way in traditional network for every site we give a site number. Similar way here. right? Then we need to configure the domain name. To configure the domain name, here the terminology is what? We call it what? It is a organization name. It's an organization name, right? And then the last thing which we need to tell, what is your vBond to whom you need to reach the IP address of that vBond for authentication and authorization. Right? That is the 5 parameters we configure under the system configuration to onboard a vEdge. Then you have the third important thing. That is what your device must have authentication parameters. Now, what is the authentication parameter this solution is using? This solution is using PKI infrastructure. Within the PKI infrastructure, this device must have 2 certificates. The first certificate will be of what? Root CA. And the second certificate will be of its own device certificate. Right? So there will be 2 certificates available to these, you can say that, device. The first one is what? Who is your certificate authority? That certificate authority certificate. And the second certificate is what? My own certificate. On device certificate, which will be issued by the certificate authority. So these 2 certificates are required. So that's the parameters which we need to configure to onboard a vEdge. To onboard a vEdge. So first thing I told you that, what is that? The physical or underlay connection. I can say it as in what? It's a part A, right? And then the part B, the part B is the overlay connection. And for overlay connection, we need to have what? 3 things. That's very, very important.
Hello, ma'am. Deepam here. Ma'am,
Yes.
actually, can you just explain this host name, system IP, site ID, organization name once again? Because my net got disconnected, so I missed those points.
If I start repeating what will happen, I won't be able to tell you the AR. What you want me to do it?
Just one liner. What is the system
Okay.
IP, site ID?
Host name is a name.
Yeah.
System IP is a kind of IP which is being used as a router ID. Site ID is a numeric number which is being given to the site where we are hosting or where we are keeping this WAN edge. Organization name is a domain name, and vBond IP is what? The IP address of the vBond to whom this device has to reach for authentication and authorization.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Done. So now once this is there, after that we need to look at what? Once my device is onboarded, my device will be shown in the vManage. So let me now, if you wanted to take a screen capture, please quickly take a screen capture. I'll show you the vManage, how my devices are onboarded on the vManage. I'll show you the GUI of the vManage. Right? Done? So let me stop sharing over here and I'll share my practical part with you guys. Okay. So once my screen is visible, you can see that.
Yes.
It's visible.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. How about now?
Yeah, no.
Now you can see it, right? So here, this is the GUI of the vManage, where you can see one vSmart is onboarded, 4 WAN edges are onboarded, one vBond is onboarded, and one vManage is onboarded, right? So when you have to explore the menu, here the burger sign is there, hamburger sign. You can click onto it, you'll be able to see the menu, right? Here under the monitor, you can monitor the network, right? Or by default, you will be able to see dashboard. Over the dashboard also, you'll be able to see a lot of things, right? So you will be able to see that how many control connections are up, how many partial connections are there, what is the full WAN connectivity, what is the partial WAN connectivity. There is no connectivity for one site for the troubleshooting purpose, right? All these are using what? They are using above 10 Mbps interfaces, right? So what is their tunnels in case if we need to do it for application aware routing? For application aware routing, the tunnel is what? Tunnel is showing me that with this tunnel, they have latency, loss, and jitter. With this tunnel, this is the latency, this is the loss, this is the jitter, right? So everything is available here on the dashboard itself, that how many vEdges are deployed, how many are authorized, right? So total vEdges are 4 right now in this particular scenario. And if I go to the network, over the network, I can see them with their system IP, with their device model number, with their chassis numbers, with their IP reachability, with their site IDs, right? What are their BFD connections, right? How many control connections they are having up? What is the version of these devices? And since when they are up, right? You can see it, they are up since yesterday, 23rd August, 23rd August, 23rd August, right? I kept them up yesterday only, right? And today is 24th, right? So you can see that this is what the status we can see it. Now, in case if I wanted to see the status of any one of the device, right? So let's take an example. I wanted to see the status of this device, VH1 Site 1, right? So I can click onto that particular device. I'll be able to see what is the transport this device is using. So I can see that it is using MPLS transport. And I can see right now the state of that transport is down, right? Is there any tunnel available within this transport? So you can see that once the state of the physical pipe is down, automatically the tunnels are there, but all the tunnels are also down. I can see there are 4 tunnels, but all 4 tunnels are down. Since my physical transport is down, automatically my all the tunnels will also be down, right? So these tunnels are what? These tunnels are data tunnels, right? These tunnels are data tunnels. You can see that all they are IPsec, 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 IPsec tunnels. Apart from these tunnels, when we talk about the control tunnels, in case if you wanted to see the control tunnels, I'll be able to see control connections over here. This device is having control connection established with what? vSmart as well as vManage. vBond connection is not being shown over here because once the vBond is what? Authorizing, after that it is what? It sits behind and it says that I've given the permit to this. Now there is no need of me, right? So you'll not be able to see it over here, right? Then after that, in case if you wanted to see the events, is there any events available? You'll be able to see all the minor, major events, critical events over here. From here itself, you will be able to do all the monitoring things, right? Apart from that, in case if you need to do the troubleshooting, you'll be able to perform the troubleshooting also from here. And in case if you need to see the real-time connections, like you wanted to execute some set of the commands, you can execute those commands from here. Okay. Like you wanted to see what you wanted to see the interface statistics. These are the filters. You need to mention the name of the interface and you'll be able to see the interface statistics. Right? So that's the way you will be able to see a lot of things from here itself. Like example, you wanted to do troubleshooting. For troubleshooting purpose, very important things, you are doing what? You are running ping and trace route, right? So if we do ping, we need to know destination. We need to know what is the source interface by which I wanted to do ping. While having the ping, if I wanted to use ICMP as a prop, then if I wanted to use TCP or UDP as a prop, we can even use that. In case if you wanted to have some specific option, like I wanted to only check the connectivity with this particular destination port number, you can do that too. You can specify the you can say that you can specify the TCP and then you can specify the port number of it. You have advanced options as well in case if you wanted to say count, payload, MTU, type of service, time to leave, all this advanced options also you can use it for ping or trace route. So it itself gives you a lot of, you can say that, functionality, right? And then here you will be able to see the configurations, the device configurations, right? And the device certificates. So all these devices, they have the certificates available. They all are the vEdge cloud devices, right? So when we need to see the configurations, I can come back to the device. I can see it here. Any one device running configuration. What is the running configuration of these devices? So is that I'm logging in onto any vManage? No, I'm sitting onto the cloud. Over the cloud, I've taken the access of vManage, and from vManage, I get to know everything from each site detail, right? Like example, I told you that we need to configure what? System detail. We need to configure host name. We need to configure system IP, site ID, organization name, vBond IP, right? That is being configured. If I need to say that we need to configure a tunnel interface on a physical interface, the tunnel interface is there, encapsulation is there, right? So you can say that physical interface is having an IP address, tunnel interface, encapsulation, color, right? Services are being allowed. DHCP service is allowed, DNS service is allowed, ICMP service is allowed, netconf is allowed. As I told you, some of the basic services needs to be allowed. HTTPS is allowed, right? So some of the basic services needs to be allowed. Then after that, in case if you wanted to take what? You wanted to take a...
What is under design, madam?
If you
Sorry.
wanted to take what? A CLI access.
Yeah.
While sitting here itself, you can take a CLI access. Right? If I say that I wanted to take a CLI access of this device, I can take the CLI access of this device. It will give me the prompt. I just need to specify what? Password, right? Password, authentication is done, and I'm connected with that device in CLI. Right? So that's the way you will be able to do what? You'll be able to connect with it. So a lot of things are there, right? And what is the certificate authority which I'm using in? If you wanted to see it, I can show it to you. Here I'm having enterprise certificate authority, and I can see that this is the root CS certificate which I have it. So enterprise root certificate is here, and that's the way it is being connected. Right? That's about this onboarding a vEdge. And further, if we look at it, what the policies. So to have the policy, I need to go to the configuration. Under the configuration, the policies. Right? So when we click onto the policies, it is asking me that there are two different type of policies. One is centralized policy, another one is localized policy. Centralized policy will impact entire domain. And localized policy will be configured only for one local site. It means only for one local vEdge, only for one local WAN edge device, right? So if let's take an example, we wanted to create a centralized policy, we will click on add policy. And once we click on the add policy, we'll be able to see there are 4 parameters which we need to configure whenever we are configuring a policy. So what are these 4 parameters? You'll be able to see it over here. The first parameter is group of interest. Second parameter is what? The control plane, in case if you wanted to configure the control plane policy. And the third parameter is what? In case if you wanted to configure the data plane policy. And the fourth parameter is what? Where exactly you wanted to apply these policies. On sites, on VPNs, on services, where exactly you wanted to apply based on that. So you need to create group of interest, and you can call all those group of interest within the policies. Multiple policies can be created and multiple policies can be deployed. Right? So that's the way the policy is there. So what I'll do, by just looking at the time parameter, I'll give you just a short video. I'll show you that how we can have an application aware policy, right? So let me open that video for you and I'll show it to you, that video. Once my screen is visible, let me know that you can see my screen and I'll show you this video. I need to
Visible.
share the sounds as well. Let me do one thing.
Now it's visible.
I need to share it once again because I need to share along with the sound. Yes, I'm sharing it now. So let me know once you can hear it. Okay. So you can see that this is the topology where you will be able to see that there is one site available here, right? There is other site available here. Now these two, both the sites are connected with MPLS as well as with the internet, right? Both the sites are having what? 2 physical pipes, and each pipe will have what? Each pipe will have one IPsec connection for data plane. One IPsec connection for the data plane, right? And 3 connection towards what? Controllers. 3 connections towards what? Controller, wherever the controllers will be hosted. Right? Now in this particular site, that is what Edge B, there is a server hosted, right? And in these sites, there are 2 different, you can say that the end users. One end user is having what? Voice, right? Connection. Another end user is having what? Email. So for the voice transmission, we need a different set of what? Jitter, delay, wherein for email, it is a data, right? It's not the real-time connectivity. It would need a different type of what? Jitter, right? It would need a different type of what? Performance parameters, right? So on the basis of performance parameters, we will be configuring this AR policy, right? So now what I'll do, I'll start this. Let me know once you can hear this or not.
And BIS Internet. In Edge A, you have 2 subnets, one for email and one for voice. Both communicate to server on Edge B.
Quite
Without
low.
any policy in place, simulate flows.
Okay. Let me see, how can I increase the volume? Because that's the maximum volume which I have it on my system. You just check at your end, what is the volume at your end?
You can even share the link in the WhatsApp group for the video.
No, it's my personal video. I can't.
Okay.
Right? But it will be recorded here. You'll be able to watch it in this recording.
Display its motion.
Right? So just have a look at it
and
here.
vManage for each subnet. Go to Monitor, Network, select HA, Troubleshooting, Simulate flows. Simulate communication between an email subnet host 192.168.2.1 and server B 172.16.1.1. The result shows 4 available options. Use both transports on both edge devices. Simulate the flow between a voice subnet host 192.168.1.1 and server B. The output is the same result.
So here what is there? As I told you that we have site A. Over the site A, we have 2 different domains. And over the destination site, we have 1 server. So even though when I'm sending by default the traffic from my first subnet, that is the voice subnet, it is using the same method. It is sending the traffic over the biz internet over the MPLS, right? And when I'm using my domain as a source, that is what the email, still the traffic is being sent by using both the subnets, right? So this is the default communication. Once we have seen the default communication, we'll be creating the policy.
Check
Right?
the loss, jitter, and latency between the 2 edge devices on the Monitor, Network, Edge A tunnel menu. A tunnel between endpoints of the same color have better performance. Configure the policy in Configuration, Policies, Centralized Policy, Add Policy. Select Data Prefix and then New Data Prefix List. Name the voice list. Configure the prefix and click Add. Do the same for the email subnet. Select Site, New Site List. Name the list as HA and add Site 100. Select VPN, New VPN List. Name the list and click Add VPN 10. Now select SLA class and new SLA class list. Create one for voice traffic and one for email traffic. Add the maximum values for loss, latency, and jitter for each connection. Select these values in accordance with the needs of your network and application. When the SLA for email and voice is created, click Next. Click Next until the Configure Traffic Rules section is seen. In the Application-Aware Routing section, click Add Policy, Create New. Add a name and a description for the policy. Click Sequence Type and add a sequence rule. Set the matching conditions for the first sequence. Click Source Data Prefix List and select the voice subnet from the drop-down menu. Click Actions and select SLA class list.
So guys, do you remember first when we were creating the group of interest, we have created the prefix list. We have also created the SLA class, right? Now we are calling those parameters here when we are defining the rules, right? So moving ahead.
Select the voice SLA from the drop-down menu and click Save Match and Actions. Add the sequence for email traffic. Set the matching conditions for the email data prefix list and set as action the SLA for email. Save the sequence. Verify the default action is set as none. Click Save Application Aware Routing Policy. Click Next. Name the centralized policy and give it a description. Click Application Aware Routing and New Site List and VPN List. Select the site list for HA and VPN 10. You can click Preview to review the policy before you save it.
Can you see that now what is the policy which has been created? So you can see the sequence number. We are matching the voice and we are defining the action as a SLA class, right? And what is there within the SLA class of voice? Latency is this, loss is this, jitter is this. In case if it is increased if beyond this, then what will happen? The action will go to what? another sequence, right? So that's the way that policy is being created, that the voice traffic will only be sent if we have latency less than this, loss less than this, jitter less than this. So you can see that how easy a policy creation here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? How easy. Wherein if we go to the traditional method, how many things we need to do to create this policy? A lot of. Right? Here it is so simple to create the policy. Very easily you were able to create the group of interest, right? And you can call those group of interest even though in the multiple policies. It's not necessary that you can call only one time in one policy. You can call them in multiple policies, right? And once the policy is ready, you can even though view its CLI preview also for you to verify, because we engineers are very much comfortable in the CLI method, right? So you can check that in the CLI method as a preview. And once the preview is done, you just need to do what?
After you
need to
confirm the
check,
configuration is correct,
you need
click
to
Save
just apply
Policy.
it. And
The
once the
policy is now
policy is
created,
saved,
and the final step is to activate it.
now
Click
you
on
need
the
to
three-dotted
activate it,
menu on the right of your policy and select Activate.
right? And once the policy is ready, you need to activate it. And this policy will be activated where? Tell me where it will be activated.
Centrally across all the things.
Across the domain, across vSmart
Control.
plane.
On the control plane. And based on this, the control plane will be further forwarding the routes
To the vEdge device.
To
to
data
the
plane.
vEdge device, to the data plane. And that's wherein the connection will be connected, or the transmission will happen from one data site to the other data site.
Okay.
Okay.
One more question, Arvinder ma'am. In the previous screen, you showed us that on the preview part, there was latency 6, jitter 10, and some parameters over there. So those were the benchmark. Only if the parameters are less than that, the traffic will be sent for the VoIP. If it is more than that, traffic will not be sent for the voice traffic. Is that my understanding correct?
Correct. Generally, what we do in the production, we say that that we will consider the primary link as a down, then the traffic will be forwarded to the secondary link.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yes,
that's
yes.
the way it is here.
Ma'am, action will be
Yes.
taken on the basis of less than or greater than, or it should be exact matter. It should be exact matter, right?
It depends how you have created SLA class. You
Okay.
need to create SLA class there in the group of interest. So you need to see what application you are using in within your production environment, and what is the performance parameter available for that application. Like sometimes what happened that there are real-time applications, they cannot afford to have a delay. So you need to set the parameter accordingly.
Okay, so we can say, right, greater than or less than, right?
Yes, you can set that greater than and less than.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome. So that's it about the workshop, right? And there are few questions available that few people were asking about the cost for the course, and few people are saying that how they can install the vSmart in on-prem solution. So when I talk about the cost, you need to talk to the network support team, because I don't know what is the policy right now they are having it for the cost. Like example, yesterday Gaurav told you guys that in case if you enroll, you will be getting the recorded session of Versa. So they are the better, you can say that the person to let you know, right? So I'm just a trainer over here, right? And the next thing is what, when you say that vSmart on prem solution, yes, you can install vSmart on a prem solution. You need to have the, you can say that the server on the top of server, you need to have hypervisor on the top of hypervisor. You must have what, a virtual machine, and in that virtual machine you should have a vSmart image hosted, and that's the way you will be able to install. Right. Now, yes, of course, the Gaurav will be sharing the link of the video to you guys, right? Yesterday, yes, Nitesh asked me that in case if vManage is down, what will happen? Still the communication will happen or not?
It will happen, ma'am, because it is
Yes.
manager, right?
Yes, it's the manager, right? So how vendors are providing the SD-WAN solution to the banking sector, Vinay, the similar way, the way the other sectors, they get the SD-WAN solution. No change, even though for banking sector. Only the thing is what banking sector applications will have less performance. It means what? When I say performance less, it doesn't mean that the all the parameter, I'll say that they will not be able to afford to have high delay, high jitter. So that's the way you need to configure the application aware writing for the banking sector, right? Next, one question is there related to that. He is stuck. How the AWS cloud and SD-WAN connected? AWS cloud and SD-WAN is what? AWS cloud will be connecting physically via the ISP to the customer sites. And once that IP reachability is done, then on the top of it, what? On the top of it, what the overlay tunnel will be there. Is it okay, Harmeet?
Like how we are providing services, like this is software part, the network is
Right,
in the form of a software, like
right.
so where the applications land on this, how they are connected, like we have cloud, we have SD-WAN, this is a management system, like I could not understand because
Harmeet, I feel so that you are the part of my other batch as well.
yeah, I am in CCNP and RC, like
You're doing NRC with me. So
in
hold for the MPLS class and you
okay.
will get to know.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So right now we are doing EIGRP over there, right? After
my
EIGRP, we'll do OSPF, BGP, and then we'll come to the MPLS.
my brain is storming, like I want to know. Okay, thank you.
You wanted to know right away because it's a
Yeah,
very, you can
how
say that lengthy
applications
part, which I need
will
to.
be running a software with the software, like like okay, we'll study. Thank you.
Right. I'll give you, if you start this batch here, so here I'll be giving you 1 day,
Okay,
almost for 2 hours to give you the explanation about the cloud. And then
okay,
you'll be able to understand.
okay. Actually, I'm in the master's program, so maybe you have included this in SD-WAN and
Okay,
network master program.
you
I
can
haven't.
check then with them.
Yeah,
Okay.
please. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, then. Thank you, everybody.
Actually, my ask was is if
Ma'am,
V1 is,
once.
goes down, then it will not able from remotely, na?
No, once the vManage will be down, Nitesh, what will happen? It will not be able to monitor the devices. It will not get the alarms. We will not be able to troubleshoot from the vManage. We won't be able to access the devices from the vManage, right? But my data plane will still work because data plane is what? Independent from the
Can you repeat?
management plane.
Actually, my connection was goes down.
Okay, let me repeat once again. When the vManage will be down, you won't be able to access the devices via the vManage. You won't be able to see them in the dashboard. You won't be able to run the simulate flow, right? But your data plane will still working because even though the applications are, or you can say that policies are created on the vManage, but they are activated on what? They are activated on vSmart, and vSmart has already given the routes to the vEdges. So their data plane will still work. There will be no impact on the data plane.
For reachability, I need a local engineer for
Right.
login.
You
So the
need to have a reachability for the vManage low. You wanted to, if you wanted to say that the reachability, vManage is hosted where? vManage is hosted in a cloud environment.
Right, right.
And over the cloud, there is so much of redundancy available. Very rare you will find your vManage gets down. Very rare. Very rare, it means what? You have 0.0001% chances that your vManage is getting down,
Okay.
right?
so
Hey, ma'am,
in case if 0.01% goes down, then new policies won't be able to create it, but the existing policies will continue to work.
Will continue to work on. Yes.
Ma'am,
So
I didn't hear that the last question. The SD-LAN and XD access, right? Is that like
oh
SD-WAN and SD access for Cisco? Is that so, or
no.
just
Actually,
the
when we
NGD?
talk, yes, it's okay, Sean. Let me give you. Sorry, I forgot your question, right?
Yeah, okay.
And let me tell you one thing that when we say SDN, we get to know what is SDN. SDN is separation of all three planes, right?
Okay.
And
Mhm.
when we are implementing that SDN within the WAN, we call it what? SD-WAN,
Right.
right? And we have the solutions available for SD-WAN, like Viptela solution, Fortinet solution,
Mhm.
vendor-based solutions are there. Similar
Mhm.
way, when we are saying that we wanted to implement SDN there in the LAN, we say it is
Mhm.
SD-LAN.
Okay.
And Cisco gives a solution for SD-LAN, that is what? SD access.
Okay. Like
Okay,
Viptela, we have it for in LAN SD access.
SD access.
Okay. Okay. That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And SD access is using the concept of overlay as an VXLAN protocol.
Yep.
Right? And the other
Yes.
thing is what? Whenever we need to have the controllers for SD-LAN, we are using DNAC controller.
Right.
Right? And as
Yeah.
well as there is other server, that is what ICE server for authentication
Mhm.
and authorization.
Like vBond.
Like vBond, yes.
Okay. Okay. Got
And
it.
sometimes Cisco, even though gives you the authority, if you have deployed Cisco SD-LAN solution and Cisco SD-WAN solution, you can integrate them together. Your
Using
vManage will be integrated into what? DNAC, and you'll have one controller to manage LAN as well as WAN.
okay. WAN also is possible. DNAC.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
Right. That's it. So
Okay. Thank you.
thank you, everybody. That's the reason I ask you that I'll give you the answer in the end.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Okay, so see you in the workshop. In case if you are interested, please join, right? And you can connect the support team. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
See you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.